good evening. How are you guys doing tonight? I am feeling a little bit better, but I am going to take one of my cough drops before I get started, because I start talking and my throat starts hurting. Today was a very relaxing day. I took the day off from really doing anything. I slept most of the day. Alex was pretty adamant that I stay in bed and just relax today. So I kind of like got up, went downstairs, got some water, came back up to bed, and went back to sleep for a little bit. And finally, at like 4 o'clock, it's so hot in my car right now. Finally, at like 4 o'clock, it's so hot in our house too. And like one of the things that sucks about the Midwest in wintertime is when you have the heat on, your skin gets really dry, and I'm like lotioning like crazy, and I just feel like every part of me is just like really dry. But anyway, I finally got up and got out of bed at like 4 o'clock, and I was like, okay, I have to like feel like I'm doing something today. So I went and got coffee, and I listened to the rest of my audiobook. I actually finished my first book for 2019, Sadie. I'm going to put up my full review of that on my BookTube channel tomorrow, but it was really, really good. It wasn't what I expected it to be at all. And, so yeah, it was good. And I just started, my new audiobook, which is called, I can see it on my little screen, One of Us is Lying by Karen McManus. And I actually have the book, and I've started it like 50 times. And I've had it on different TBRs for like the last 2 years, and I've never read it. It's about 5 kids at this high school, and they're like in detention, and it's kind of like very kind of like Gossip Girl meets Pretty Little Liars is what I can take from the beginning of it. But she has a second one coming out, which I think is like a sequel to it. So it's either a sequel or like a spinoff. So I want to read this one. And I was actually looking on the bestseller list tonight, New York Times bestseller list, because I really wanted to read like something that was really good, like a mystery that I could really get into, or something like that, you know? I'm trying to read a lot of really just escapist fun books in 2019, like books that I can't put down. Because I got really caught up in 2018, like staying with a lot of, like one of my goals for 2019 reading goals is that, like it's called DNFing on BookTube, but it means did not finish. And like if I get into a book and I don't like it, I'm just gonna like put it away and not finish it. I have a hard time doing that, like when I start a book and I don't like it, but because over time I end up usually kind of liking the book once I get into it, but like sometimes it takes me a long time and it really drags. The only chapstick I have in this car is this, and it's like completely gone, and I didn't realize it was completely gone until I got in here, but it's like metal. Anyway, so yeah, I got that one, and I was gonna get, well, a couple of the books on the bestseller list. Well, this was on the young adult bestseller list, and Turtles All the Way Down by John Green is on there. I've already read that. The new Adam Silvera and Becky Albertalli book is on there. I have that already on Audible. And then there's like 3 fantasy books that I have no desire to read. And I can't remember what else. But this one, I didn't know this. This has been on the bestseller list for 71 weeks. I mean, like, that's a really long time. So I thought, well, I should probably read that. And this is kind of something that I like to read anyway. And then on the adult paperback list is the new David Baldacci book, which I like him, but he's kind of very James Patterson to me. But I thought about getting that on Audible, but I really don't want to spend the money. I'd rather just read that as a paperback. And then there's actually a James Patterson on there. And then there's the new John Grisham book, The Reckoning. I almost got that. And then the one about crawdads singing or something, I already have that one. That's supposed to be a great book. I might listen to that next. Actually, I think when I finish this, I'm going to listen to The Stranger Beside Me, because it's like 18 hours, and it's the book club book, and I want to be able to actually discuss that this month and not just like read it at the very end. So I think I'm going to read that and then listen to The Order of the Phoenix by the next Harry Potter book. And then if I get those done in January, which will be 4 books, 1 a week. I guess there's 5 weeks in January, isn't there? Because I am wanting to finish a book a week. If I get those done and I have time for another one, then I'll put in something else. But anyway, and then I'm reading physical copies of books too. I'm like finishing up The Quickie by James Patterson right now, which is okay. It's not bad. I mean, it's a quick read. It's a quickie read. Quick read. Anyway, I feel a lot better today. I'm still having like coffee and the bits and stuff like that. I've been super hungry the last couple days. Alex went to this birthday party tonight for this friend of his husband from high school, and I was going to go with him, and to be honest with you, I just didn't feel like it. I was just like, So he left at about 7:30, and I came home, and I was actually going to like take a shower and try to film some videos for tomorrow, see if I like felt better after taking a shower, but I was like, you know what, just relax, just enjoy your day. So I did. Thank you guys for all the comments on the vlog about, just take your time, relax, I get very antsy being at home for long periods of time. Like, I do have to go to like the post office and mail this letter here in just a second, but I get very antsy, like sitting at home for long periods of time. I get, kind of like cabin fever, where I have to get out of the house. I can't sit around for a long period of time. But Tanya did ask me, she was like, do you want to go to Walmart tonight? And I was like, I don't feel like I can just like, I just didn't feel like it could be a lot of fun to just walk around Walmart, I was like, no, I think I'm going to lay down for a little bit. And so I fell asleep at like, I watched, what did I watch on TV? I don't even remember now. Bridesmaids. It's so silly how like that movie can just make me laugh. Like, especially the scene when they're trying on the bridesmaids gowns. I watched it like from the engagement party till like that part, and while I was eating dinner, which was hummus. It was not an exciting dinner, but I laughed so hard, and like I can watch that movie over and over and over again, and it just makes me laugh so hard. But anyway, and then I laid down at like, well, it had to have been later than that, because I laid down about closer to 10, and then I got up at about 11:30, 11:45, and it's 1:45 now, yeah. Because I was shopping on Audible for a while, looking at stuff on the New York Times list, took the dogs out, gave PP his medicine, got him back into bed, and I'm planning a trip to LA, and so I was looking at different hotels and flights and stuff like that online. So yeah, that was kind of my evening. That's kind of my day. I've just been at home the whole day. Alex was very sweet. I'm hoping by tomorrow, I mean, like, if my voice is, like, I feel, like, yesterday, I did not feel good. Today, I've been, like, lethargic, but I feel better. My voice, like, I feel like it goes in and out. The really weird thing is that when this started, my throat was itchy, and then it, like, and you guys out there, especially moms that, like, deal with this with kids, you probably would know better than me, because I don't know, like, I don't track being sick very well. Like, I don't know, like, the stages of it. But when it started, my throat itched, and then it hurt. That was sort of like the last couple days. Tonight I noticed it itches again. So I hope I'm not getting sick again, but what that I'm assuming is I'm going like out of it, if that makes sense. So, yeah. It was really nice today. It was like 55 all day today in Indiana. But it still felt kind of chilly outside. Alex had the heat set really high. I don't know if he did that because I was like sick or what, but like I went downstairs and he had it set to like 72. I was like, this is way too hot, like for the house. the battery like went out on our like thermostat gauge thing, and it felt warm in the house. This was yesterday or the day before. So I replaced the batteries in it because it said it was 62 in the house. And I mean, I'm sure some places that 62 sounds warm, but like in Indianapolis, when it's like 20 degrees outside or 30 degrees outside, 62 is cold inside the house. It didn't feel like that. So I don't know if just like the reader on it was not working or whatever. So I was like showing it to Alex today because it did it again today, and he was like, well, you didn't set the clock. And I was like, well, you have to set the clock on it for it to work. Like, I didn't know that. I've never done that before. And he was like, I don't know. He's like, but that's what it's saying. So we set the clock, and then I walked away. He must have set it to 72. But we usually always keep it at between like 69 and 70. That's typically what we keep at, even in the summer. So anyway, he went over to this birthday party, and then he was there for a while, and he was FaceTiming me and stuff. And then he went downtown to meet some girlfriends of his, and now he's out downtown right now. I'm tired of being sick. I've been sick for like a week now, and I'm real over it. I'm just like lacking motivation. I didn't make, oh, that was the thing I was gonna say. Like, I think I said this already, but I didn't make any videos today. And I had ideas for everything that I wanted to do, and I was real excited about it. But just like taking a shower and actually sitting down and doing it. And yesterday, like when I filmed my Peterisms video, I was like coughing and coughing like crazy. And I didn't want to do that in the video again today, so I was like, I'll just make videos tomorrow and relax today. It's probably good for my voice anyway. Plus, I knew I was going to vlog later. So, yeah. I'm now, like, almost done with the second episode of The Innocent Man. It's really good. Very interesting. So The Innocent Man is on Netflix. It's a crime documentary series. I think it's 6 episodes. And it's based on the book by John Grisham. And it was like his first foray. It was like his only foray out of fiction. He even says that, I think, in the documentary. They interview him. And it's about these 2 girls that were killed, I think, 2 years apart. I don't really, like, I'm not, so don't ruin it for me. I guess maybe I'm not as far as I thought I was. I'm not to the point where they've, like, tied the 2 murders together. They talk a lot about the first murder, but then the second murder they don't really say anything about. I mean, the second murder, the first murder they talk about, like, kind of briefly, and then they go into the second one, and that's, like, the longer one that has, like, the false confession. And then they go into that, like, at length and talk about the court trials and everything like that. And then the second episode starts with the one supposed alleged killer from the second case in the penitentiary, and he's been there for 30 years, and they're interviewing him. And, like, it starts off with him saying, like, his name, and that he had been in prison for 30 years for a crime he didn't commit. And then it goes into this whole thing. So I don't want to ruin that for you if you haven't seen it, because that's really actually the really interesting part of the documentary. But what's interesting about it is, like, I don't know, it's interesting to me how they filmed this. I could watch these crime documentary series, like, nonstop, honestly. I actually wish, like, if everybody wasn't reading it right now, for our, for our Peter's Book Club True Crime Year, I wish we had saved this. I wish we had done this book and then watched the documentary, because it's such an interesting story, and, like, the way that it's all, like, woven together. Plus, one of the things I love about these, like, crime documentaries or the books that you read are when, there's, like, the town, or, like, what is this person doing? This person's got... These people are insane right now. I would never wish anybody being an Uber driver or a Lyft driver, because I just can't even imagine having to, like, some of the BS I'm sure that they deal with. But anyway, what's interesting to me about these documentaries and stuff is that the reason I pointed was because that girl, like, walked in front and she was like, one of the things is that they always make, like, the town and, like, the townspeople are really kind of like a character in the story itself, which is so interesting to me that they do that way, you know? I love that. In fact, if you want to read a fiction book that's told, like, I don't know how the book is written. I was actually going to go to the bookstore today and, like, look and see. But Sadie, that I just finished reading. So Sadie is about this girl named Sadie. And she lives in a trailer park in this real small town in Colorado. And when it starts, her sister, her younger sister that's like 6 or 7 years younger than her, 6 years younger than her, she has been murdered. And Sadie's leaving town. Well, the whole thing starts with actually this radio show. And the woman that, like, watches these girls, like, she calls this radio show because they're going to do, like, a podcast on it or something about, and it's going to be called The Girls. And so the whole thing goes back and forth between this podcast and this guy, and, like, trying to find out what happened and the story of Sadie. But the Audible version of it literally has a full cast of characters. Like, it feels like you're listening to a podcast. And I don't know if that's how the book reads. I have no idea how the book reads whatsoever, because I haven't, like, actually picked up a physical copy of the book. But it was so interesting how it was done. And like, I even, like, I gave it 5 stars, and on Goodreads, a couple people were like, I liked it, but I didn't give it 5 stars. And what I wondered was, like, if you listen to the audio version of it, the audio version was fantastic. And it really read like, I mean, you listening to it felt like you were listening to a radio show. So I wonder if the audio version, like, made it better than the book version. I don't know. It was a very tragic story nonetheless, though. And not what I thought it would be, but very much read like a true crime book, but fiction. Which was interesting because Mel had said to me that she wanted, like, one of the books that she wanted to read for the true crime was the book Emma Cline's The Girls. Well, I had read that book like a year ago. It was one of my favorite books that year that I had read. I don't know if I read it in 2018. I think I read it in 2017. And I read it when it, like, first came out. And what was interesting about that book is that, like, it's supposedly, like, in the young adult genre, but when I read it, it was classified, like, it was like, I saw it in an adult section of, like, Barnes & Noble. And it's about this woman when she's, like, my age, and she's looking back on, like, her 20s when she was, like, part of this cult that was, like, a Charles Manson. But it isn't Charles Manson, but it's almost identical to that. And so it goes back and forth between, like, her at this age and looking back and, like, who she's become and, like, how she got to that point, her time with the cult and things like that. It's very well done. But, I mean, it's done like a documentary. It's done like a true crime book as well, even though it's not. It's actually, you know, I just had the weirdest thought. I was like, does anybody even care about this? Like, I'm sitting here talking on this video about all this shit. Like, does anybody even care about it? Do you guys even care? I don't even know what I talk about sometimes on these things. I honestly don't. So anyway, thank you for listening. Somebody said that I should ask a question at the very end of every vlog to see who actually stays to the very end and listens to the whole thing. If you even listen to 10 minutes of it, I appreciate it. But anyway, so yeah, The Girls by Emma Cline is great too. Although it is like, okay, that and Dumplin' are both, for me, like, it just is crazy to me that they're both identified as young adult books, because maybe Dumplin' I can see a little bit, but definitely not The Girls. The Girls did not read like a young adult book at all. And then there's this whole genre called new adult, which is like more adult than young adult, but not, I don't know, I don't get it, but not as adult as adult. I don't know. I didn't even know there were all these genres until I got on BookTube True Story, and then I was just confused by all of it. There's like fantasy, high fantasy, paranormal romance. Do you guys ever go to a bookstore and they have a section called paranormal romance? There's probably like 20 of you out there going, yeah, that's all I read is paranormal romance. I guess Charlaine Harris falls underneath that. We interviewed her for our website. Charlaine Harris is the one that wrote the Sookie Stackhouse novels that got turned into True Blood, which I have to say is one show that I actually miss. I loved True Blood. I thought it was so well done. I mean, it got kind of stupid at the end, but I don't know. I thought it was a perfect mix of comedy and it was a perfect mix of comedy and kind of like really good storytelling and drama and all that. So yeah, anyway, I was on Audible tonight shopping for books and kind of looking to see what was like on the bestseller list and stuff. One of the things I wanted to do in 2018 that I didn't do that I want to do in 2019 is I want to have like read a lot of the books that are on the bestseller list, which actually like at least the top 5, which isn't hard when you look on there because I'm sorry that it's cutting off my hat, which isn't hard because typically like a lot of those books are on there for like weeks on end. Like the average, I think, amount of weeks on there right now are like 12 to 15, and then there's a couple on there that have been on there forever. Anyway, enough talk about books, but I feel gross from just having been like sleeping all day today. I feel like I drank so much water today and I'm still thirsty for water. Have you heard that like the more water you drink, the more thirsty you are for water? I think that's true. Or did I just make that up? I don't know. Like I feel like I've heard that somewhere. I kind of hope I can fall asleep tonight. Like I've slept so much today that like either I'm gonna fall asleep like right away, or I'm gonna really struggle with falling asleep. And then we're gonna go to brunch tomorrow. And then if I feel better, I'll come home and film a couple videos. Yeah. I kind of want to plan out some review videos that I want to do this week. I'm not really sure. Like, I was thinking about doing a schedule on the, what do you guys think about doing a schedule on the review channel? No? Yes? Should I just post videos when I want to make them? Like, I mean, I'm trying to post every day on that channel. That's not the schedule I'm asking for. What I'm saying is, like, have specific days be specific things. Or do you think it really matters and I just post what I want to post that day? I mean, that's definitely easier for me to do. I actually was in the garage the other day and I kind of have forgotten some of the things that I had bought to review. There was one thing for the holidays that I wanted to review, but it's kind of like a process that I have to film over like a period of time. And when I was at Meijer the other day, because I was going to like start the video there, because they had a whole bunch of them, that's where I got it. They didn't have any of them left. They were all sold out. So now I saw it in the garage. I'm like, I'm going to have to do this by myself. I'll figure it out how to do it. But anyway. It's interesting, you know, like in the fall, like around Halloween, I'm always so excited to have snow. Like a lot of snow. I didn't know I was anywhere near the end. Around Halloween, I'm always excited to have snow in the winter, right? But like really around Christmas time, which we never in Indiana really get snow around Christmas time. Like we might have a couple snows between like Thanksgiving and Christmas, like 1 or 2. But we don't usually ever have like bad snow. We just don't. And in fact, it's really interesting because north and south of us will get like horrible snow. But Indianapolis, like we don't really get any snow anymore. It's really weird. Well, you know, in January, when you start like counting down to like March, you know, like, yes, we've had March snows before. We've had March like blizzards before and things like that, but very rarely in Indianapolis. Typically, by the middle or end of March, it's pretty warm here. I can remember, you know, like when Alex and I would take road trips to Florida, and we would leave here and it would be cold, or we would be coming back from Florida, and, you know, like that morning that we would drive back, we would have shorts on, and then when we got back into Indianapolis, it'd be like, you know, cold or snowy outside or whatever. But not like a foot of snow, you know, like flurries or something. But literally, typically like the first week of, you know, April, it's pretty warm in Indianapolis, and then April's nice, and then May is always really nice in Indianapolis, you know? So, we're kind of on the, you know, going down now towards that. January, February are usually the worst as far as weather in Indianapolis. I don't think we're going to have bad weather this year. I think this is it. I think we're going to gravitate between 35 and 55 the whole winter. I really do, and it's very weird to me. I don't think we're going to have any bad weather whatsoever this winter. Now watch, tomorrow it'll snow a foot. But no, I just don't think that we are. I'm actually going to pull in here to the gas station, and I'm going to see the weather and see. I knew if I turned in there, it was going to flip, and I could feel that it was going to flip. I'm actually going to turn, and I'm actually going to look in here and see. Hold on. I'm going to see what the weather is supposed to be. It says it's 38 right now. My car says 39. Sunday, 54. Monday, 54. Tuesday, 47. Wednesday, 27. Thursday, 32. Friday, 37, 38, 40, 41. No snow in any of this. 43, 44, 41. So Wednesday and Thursday, the 16th and 17th, is rain. That's the first precipitation. Friday, 40. Saturday, 40. This is rain snow mix, but so between now and the 20th, no snow, and nothing really, except for one day, nothing really below 40. I think that's interesting. You guys are probably like, thank God, right? But at the same time, it's like, I kind of would like a little bit, you know? I don't know, it's kind of fun to live in the Midwest and get some snow. I drove, when I was out getting coffee today, I drove to Half Price Books right up here, and then I got there, and I was like, I'm tired, I don't feel like going in. And I turned around and got home, and just sat at home and drank my coffee. That is how lame I am. But in that time, I did finish my audiobook, so something came of it. I actually, a couple years ago, here I go back to books again. A couple years ago, I read this book called The Life We Bury by Alan Eskens, and it was so good. It was such a great, if you want a great mystery, it's called The Life We Bury. But I had downloaded one of his other books, which is about this guy it's like about a police officer whose wife is killed, and he tries to find out who killed. Anyway, they're always told like in like kind of like Idaho, Iowa, Indiana. They're like out like in the middle of nowhere kind of places. And I think like kind of that adds to it. But I was like looking through my library and my Audible, and I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize I had downloaded one of his other books. I need to call this psychic that my friend Valerie told me about, and I need to schedule an appointment with her. I really, really want to do that. And then I want to make a video about it. And I think that in 2019, I've got to talk to Melissa about this too. I want to do some paranormal investigations on my channel. Like I want to go to some of these places around here. She and Aaron haven't done that for a while. They used to go to them like every 2 or 3 months. I can't remember like the last one they did. Did they do one after we did ours? No, I feel like they haven't done one since then. Well, we'll have to do that, like schedule one. This woman that used to always contact me about him in Indiana, she's like in charge of like setting all of these like ghost hunter things up. And she's so nice. And she's always like, anytime you or any of your friends want to go, just let me know. The thing is, I never know when they are. And the last time she contacted me, there were like 3 coming up. I guess I just need to look into them. Oh my God, you know what? I didn't even remember. I wonder where that's at. That Hell House documentary. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I'm gonna pull into the strip mall here because I want to look this up. So this documentary came out, and it's by Zach. Is it Zach Bagans? Zach, whatever his name is. It has the haunted museum in Las Vegas. He did a documentary on this house in upstate Indiana. It's literally like 2 hours from here. And it's called like Hell House or Demon House or something like that. And he did this documentary on it. And I want to see, it was supposed to come out January 1st. And I have no idea when it came out. I have it saved somewhere. Okay, hold on a second. This is when I could talk to you guys. Is it Zach Bagans? Bagans. Oh, here it is, Demon House. Demon House is a 2018 American documentary horror film directed and written by Zach Bagans, starring himself, Billy Tolley, and Jack Waisley as themselves. The film follows the Ammons haunting case and was released in the United States on March 16th, 2018 by Freestyle. But here it just said, Zach Bagans' Demon House, real story, 10 things to know about the Gary House. And this was from Indianapolis, December 28th. When Zach Bagans, the host and of Ghost Adventures on the Travel Channel, read an Indiana Star about LaToya Ammons' allegations of demon possession inside a demon house in Gary, Indiana, he was hooked. Demon House documentary about Gary, home to air on Travel Channel, January 1st. Can you get it to watch on... If you can watch it, I'm watching it tonight. I love anything like this. Never resorts. Where do you watch it? Where to... Now you guys know how I spent like 50% of my time on the Google. I love the Google. I'm obsessed with it. Oh, you can watch it on YouTube for $3.99. I don't even know how to do that. Or on Google Play. Or on Amazon. Oh, I have Amazon Prime. Can I watch it on there? This isn't the same one. Oh, yes, it is. I've never watched anything on Prime. I don't know how to do that. Well, I'll figure that out later. I know you guys are like leaving me all these comments on how to watch something on Prime. I've probably figured it out by now. Which means I've just asked my husband, how do I watch something on Prime? I ate too much hummus tonight. But I didn't really want to eat anything else than that, and I've eaten so bad this week because I just, like, didn't really want to do anything, and I haven't worked out at the gym in forever. I've got to get back. Well, Monday is my training appointment. I'm being that, I canceled both of my appointments this week because Monday I was busy, and then Wednesday I just was not feeling well. Was it Wednesday or was it Thursday? I don't know, but I canceled it. He was really nice about the whole thing. He did, of course, obviously. Well, the first one I gave him enough notice because I contacted him 24 hours before, but the second one I was like 2 hours before. I said, just charge me for it. I don't feel good. I can't come in. He was like, you need to just take care of yourself. I was like, thank you. But Monday I'm going back, and I've got to get into this hole. I've got to get back. I was doing so good. I haven't really, like, gained a whole lot of weight back, but, I mean, I've gained some weight back, and I'm not beating myself up about it, because I'm like, okay, it was like a week, you made it through the holidays, and you still lost weight through the holidays, which is a positive, right? So, I mean, you know, it could have been like I didn't do any diet at all, and I gained, you know, from my starting point, 10 pounds, you know, through the holidays, so that didn't happen, but at the same time, I've gotten off track, and I want to get back on track, and I can still meet my goals that I want to meet if I get right back on it, you know, starting right now. So we'll go to brunch tomorrow, and then after that, I won't probably eat the rest of the day, and because I usually just like eat that meal, and then that's it. And then Monday, be back on my healthy diet, healthy eating, work out, and then hopefully I feel better by then. I swear I'm the only person that, like, gains weight when I'm sick. But I think part of it is, like, I'm just, like, immobile. Like, I just come home and, like, I just don't want to do anything. So, yeah. I can't believe my husband has not texted me this whole time that I've been driving. I don't even know how long I've been driving around now. Well, I guess it hasn't been that long. I talked to him like right before I left. It's nice out tonight. Like I said, it's kind of hot in this car. It's interesting all the comments that I get, you know, when I talk about my recovery, my addiction on here. And I was reading the comments. Well, I read all my comments, but I was reading my comment the other night, or comments from, I don't know, it was one of the videos when I went in and talked about my addiction, like, at length. There's a couple people on there put, like, they really wish, like, you know, their children or their, you know, nephew or somebody, like, would get it. And I think the thing I would say to anybody is never give up hope. You know, one of the reasons why I share my story, especially my mom's story, you know, about getting sober at 51, is, and I know people that got sober in their 60s, you know, early 70s. I mean, true story, I do. I have a couple friends of mine that have 3 and 4 years sober, and they're like early 70s. Like, they just got sober. Don't ever give up hope. You know, like, I can tell you that there was, I sure as shit never thought I would get sober. I never thought I would get sober. And it wasn't like, I mean, I'm talking about in my own, like, private, you know, recesses of my mind when I would have conversations with myself, that I knew it was a problem. I knew it was out of control. That I knew that I needed to do something about it. Because you have those conversations with yourself, you know what I mean? Like, we all have private conversations with ourselves, you know? In those conversations, I knew I needed to do something about it. I didn't know how. I was terrified. And I would say, like, it doesn't work. Like, treatment doesn't work. These things don't work. That doesn't work, right? When the reality was, I was just resistant to doing what I was told. I wasn't doing the things I was told to do. It's hard to get sober because of the cravings and things like that, right? But if you do the things that people tell you to do, they really do work. Like, I had horrific cravings, you know? And I did what I was told. I picked up the phone and I called people. And it wasn't what I wanted to do, and it wasn't easy. But I had done it so many times before, and I knew, like, I was going to be homeless if I didn't pull my shit together, you know? And with my mom, so, I mean, going back to that, like, I never thought in a million years I would ever get sober, you know? And, I just didn't think I could do it. I just didn't think there was any possibility that I could do it. And that it would stick, you know? It's like you hear this a lot in recovery, you know, it's not so much about the getting sober, it's about the staying sober that's hard, which I would agree with. And I think, like, one of the things that we don't talk about a lot that's really hard is, you know, and I'm sure there's a couple people out there, like when I was talking the other day and I said that I worry about the people that, like, stop using, or, like, you know, they go through treatment and they're, like, real in it, like their first 6 months or whatever, but then they kind of get out and they're like, I'm a recovering alcoholic, or I'm a recovering addict, but, like, I don't go to meetings, I don't need any of that anymore. Okay, like, this is what I have witnessed, and this is why I continue to go. Somebody actually asked on my Q&A with Alex, they were like, do you need to keep on going to meetings for the rest of your life? I was taught that I do. I was taught that working a 12-step program is like medicine for me, and I need to continue to take that medicine to be sober. The people that I know that have sobriety that I want, the people that have the lives in sobriety that I want, continue to go to meetings. They don't go to 6 or 7 meetings a week, but they might go to 1-2 meetings a week. They sponsor people. They, you know, chair a meeting here and there as service. Like, they, you know, they participate. And those are people that have 20, 30, 40 years of sobriety, and that's what I want. You know, I want that peace of mind, that serenity, and if I want that, then if I want what they have, I have to do what they do. So, but, you know, I have, like, known so many people, and this isn't, like, and I don't mean this in any judgmental way, because I think it happens very easily, and I think it could have happened to me, especially when I walked away from meetings. I never came back, you know, but I did come back because of fear, and fear kept me out, and fear brought me back in, I guess. I don't know, but, you know, I think what happens is we get sober to get our lives back. Well, and then we get, many of us get our lives back and so much more. You know, we get relationships, or, you know, jobs or careers or opportunities or kids, families, you know, new friends. And these people don't really know anything about the drugs or the alcohol. And so it seems so far away from us that we got sober to have those things, and we did everything that we could to get that in our lives, to have that life. But then we kind of forget at times, like, how important it is to keep on doing those things that we did to get them, to keep them, if that makes sense. Like, I think that there's, like, this denial system in our bodies that says, well, now that you have a different life, you don't need to do what you were doing before, because, you know, whatever. And it's scary to me, because then what happens if you lose that job? What happens if that relationship falls apart, you know? Stuff's gonna happen, and I've seen people that are very, very bitter. I've seen myself at times be, you know, extremely, extremely bitter and angry, and because I'm not doing what I need to do. And, you know, like, those are moments when I call my sponsor and I'm like, I don't really know what's going on with me. And she'll, like, well, let's just do some inventory right here on the phone. And we do, you know. And so that's a way for me to, like, deal with that stuff today, or talk to my counselor about it and things like that, you know. But that's why it's important for me to continue to go to meetings and have that lifeline and that connection and stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I know. I can't tell you how many people I know that work in treatment programs, okay? That they get a year or two under their belt and they're working in a treatment program and they don't need to go to meetings anymore, right? Like, they can preach that that's what you should be doing, but they're not doing it themselves anymore. And that was, like, I was always going to meetings when I worked in treatment, so not that that's like, whatever, but like, I mean, I can remember, you know, like, talking to friends of mine that I worked with, and I'd be like, so do you, like, you know, tell your patients and clients that they need to go to meetings? And they'd be like, well, yeah, of course I do. And I'm like, but you don't work a program. And they'd be like, no, I don't really need to work a program anymore. I think that's where the danger is for me. Like, a lot of people that I've talked to that don't go to meetings, they won't say that. Like, I never said that. Like, when I walked away from meetings and I didn't go for a couple years, I never said, like, to this day, if Tanya was sitting in this car, she'll say, I don't know how you made it 4 years without never going to a meeting. She's like, I would have drank or drugged. But, you know, like, a lot of people that I know that I've talked to about it will be like, it's not that I don't need it, I just don't go, you know? And they own it. And I think there's, like, that awareness is really important. What scares me is, and in, like, maybe 20 plus years, the 3 or 4 people that I've known, and this is like, and these are people that I knew like 20 years ago. I don't even know what they're doing today, you know? But that worked, you know, in the field, and they'd be like, yeah, I don't really need to go anymore. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, that's scary. It's not scary that they're not going for them. It's scary that they're telling other people that. That's what I guess is scary. Like, as a person that's in recovery, if I had been in treatment and somebody had said to me, you need to go to meetings, and then I would say to them, well, do you go to meetings? Well, no, but I don't need to go anymore. Like, that's scary to me, like that message. It does anyway. And I don't know where those people, I know that there's like really nobody that I used to work with that still works in that treatment facility. I know where a couple people are, but I don't know where a lot of people are, especially like different departments. Every once in a while I'll run into some people. Randomly. Oh. I think one of the greatest things about sobriety today versus sobriety when I first got sober, I mean, for like the new, I have absolutely no idea how I had just talked for another 24 minutes. Like, that is baffling to me. But anyway, what I was going to say was the difference between sobriety today versus sobriety when I first got sober. And I think it's just the physical withdrawal symptoms and all of that. Let's just be honest. It's just as difficult today as it was back then. It's no different, right? But the thing is that, like, when I got sober, there, like, for young people, there just wasn't, like, I don't know, like, there wasn't anything for us to do. And I guess maybe I'm talking more just about, like, to younger people, like, you know, in their early 20s. But, like, I was talking to Tanya about this the other day. It's like, there's a couple meetings in Indianapolis that are, like, specifically, like, younger people meetings. And, I mean, there's older people my age that go there, but, like, the majority of the people, actually, one of the people that goes there and started it is a friend of my sponsors, and he's, like, my age, but, and these are huge meetings, right? So you literally walk in, let's say you're 21, 22 years old, like I was 22, right? And you walk in, and when you walk out, you've got 20 new friends, like, that are giving you their number and telling you to call. I mean, to have a social group, a sober social group today in sobriety is, like, so much easier than it was back then. And I think it's just, you know, I think it's taken that long for, it to build up in Indianapolis. Maybe in different areas it's different, I don't know. But it just wasn't like that when I got, you know, sober. There's huge not organizations, but affiliations within each program now of young people. If you're in a 12-step program, you know what I'm talking about. That they have young people conventions, you know, where they go and they'll have, like, they'll have like, you know, round the clock meetings, and then they'll have a dance, and it's always some themed dance, you know, like neon or a rave or 80s prom or something. They always do this fun stuff, you know, and everybody gets hotel rooms, and there's 6 of them sharing out. It's like spring break, but for like recovery conventions, you know what I mean? And like, I just think it's phenomenal that exists today. I wish that it had existed, but you know, like, even knowing myself and as socially awkward as I am and things like that, and my social anxiety, I don't know that I would have participated, honestly. I mean, I'm sure to some level it existed back then. I just wasn't, but it didn't the way that it does now, because I just didn't hear anybody talking about it, you know? But I'm still here, you know? And that's why I tell my story, is because I don't want anybody to lose hope and think that their son or daughter or themselves can't get sober, okay? Because you can. As scared as you are, you can do it. Your mom can do it, your dad can do it, your grandparents can do it, your aunt, your uncle, your best friend, anybody can do it, right? And I think thank you. Do I have one more? No. And I think fear is really what keeps us in the way of getting sober. The fear of the unknown of what sobriety looks like. The fear of not thinking that we can do it. The fear of what will my life look like after. That was a huge one for me, you know? I don't know what my life is going to look like sober. Like, I won't have any fun anymore. Like, no, I won't have any friends. How will I go out? How will I meet guys? Because, hold on a second. I mean, all of the guys that I had met, pretty much up to that point, were drug addicts or alcoholics. Dealers, you know, and I was attracted to bad boys always. So I didn't really, and I don't know that I like recognize that. Like, I don't know that at 22 I would have said I date bad boys or I'm attracted to that. But I typically dated people that I looked pretty good in comparison to. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, they were so like rebellious, and I loved that. Like, I craved that kind of rebellion. I mean, I've always loved badasses. I've always been attracted to that element, you know, and as wonderful and wise and compassionate as my best friend is, she's a badass. I mean, she just really is. And I think in a different language than I mean, you should hear some of her stories from back in the day. They're quite hilarious about some of the trouble she got herself into, and me too, but I think you can still be a badass, you know, and not be a badass but not be a bad person, if that makes sense. But I didn't know that then, and so I always just dated these guys that really didn't seem to care about a whole lot, including me, to be quite frank. You know, if you've ever dated a bad boy out there, okay, one of the things you know about them is, yeah, they're bad boys and they're tough and they're badasses, and that's real attractive on some level. Just their lack of emotional attachment to anything in the world, I think, including you, when you're dating them. Like, you know, they can really take you or leave you. And I think that's part of it, you know, that like chasing after that kind of mentality. I really do. this one guy I dated was so, I mean, he was so hot. At least I thought he was at the time. I haven't seen him, I don't know, in 25 years. Back then, he was about 5 years older than me. And, he didn't drive a motorcycle, but he looked like he should. He looked like he was so slick. He just was so smooth and so slick. He kind of was, really. Oh, man. He was kind of a drifter in and out of my life. Maybe not a drifter in real life, but a drifter in and out of my life. So yeah. But you don't ever want to give up hope on anybody. You know, it's like I didn't get sober because I wanted to either, you know? Like, I got sober because I didn't really have any other options at that point. I just did what I was... Oh, ouch! And I just did what I was being told to do because I didn't know what else I was going to do with my life. And I thought, well, hell, like, give this a try. I heard somebody say, it was this guy that, like, I was never really friends with, but I was friendly with. And he was younger too. He was like my age. And he gave like a lead at like 30 days or something. And I remember it like really impacted me. And he said that when he was using and dealing and conning and all that kind of stuff, that he literally would have taken anything from you. That he was going to give it his all. So like if he was going to use drugs and alcohol, like he was all in. Like if you were going to give him a pill, he was going to eat 8. If you were going to, like, if he was going to, you know, drink, he was going to drink until he was wasted drunk. And, you know, if you had a bag of weed, he was going to be your best friend and he was going to smoke it with you. And that he had decided that he was going to have that same attitude about sobriety. And that if he was going to go in sobriety and he was going to give it his best shot, then he was going to give it the same shot that he had given using. And that meant that if he was going to go to one meeting, he was going to go to 10 to 14 meetings a week for the first year, you know, and if he was told to get a sponsor, he was going to call his sponsor every day, you know, and he was going to go all in and do it full throttle. And just like he had taken from other people when he was using, if you had pot, he was going to be your best friend. If you were somebody that had a lot of wisdom and recovery, then he was going to be your best friend and he was going to get all that wisdom from you and he was going to use it for himself. And I remember hearing that and I thought, God, that's so smart. Like, you know, like, and there was something about that 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 like resonated with me. I was actually going to say this the other night when I was talking about this and I didn't talk about it, but that was like one of the things that I heard. And like, I can remember sitting in meetings and I would go back to the treatment program that I'd gone to and they had speaker meetings in the auditorium. And I don't know what got me off track the other night talking about it, but I'm going to talk about it now. So anyway, I would go to those meetings in the auditorium. It's like shaking like crazy. And I was sitting in there one night and I can remember like there was this I can't remember what meeting it was, but it was so boring and it was these old guys and they were like 80 and they were like step meetings and they talk about like step 2 and it was a meeting, but it was like an educational group and it was so boring. And I remember thinking to myself, if I'm going to stay sober, like, I'm going to do something with my life. Like, I'm going to, like, make something of my life. Like, it's not going to just be about the next 40 or 50 years of my life going to meetings and stuff. Like, yes, that will be part of it. If I have to do that to stay sober, fine. But the trade-off's going to be that I'm going to build a strong foundation for, like, my life. And, like, I'm going to retire early and I'm going to have a great life and I'm going to enjoy my life and have fun and I'm going to do all the things I want to do. And I remember thinking that, you know. And I believe that. I believe that I'm blessed that I have that today, you know, and that we shouldn't just look at sobriety and getting sober, yes, as a saving our damn lives, sure, that. But at the same time, it's building foundations for our futures, you know? I have a pretty great life today. And I don't think that, had you shown me my life at 22, that I really would have understood enough about it to really have been like, yeah, that's going to happen for me. This is a reason to stay sober. But, you know, the thing is that the world changes. Like, one of the things that's changed that I never would have believed at 22 is that I'm married to my husband, you know? Like, if you had told me that at 22, I would never have believed that was possible. I just didn't ever think that was going to be an option, you know? That I would, like, live in a house. Like, yeah, maybe that I would, like, coexist with somebody. But that we would basically have a family with dogs and be legally married and, you know, travel the world together and be in each other's lives family-wise. I guess maybe that I would have. Because, like, my family was pretty active. That place is called the Juicy Seafood. What? I don't care for that word, juicy. I've never seen it, though. That must be new. But anyway, my family was pretty involved in stuff that was going on at that time with, like, some people I had dated and stuff like that. Oh, my God, they did not like those bad boys. My dad and my stepmom never said much about it, but my mom would say stuff. She'd say, like, this is what she would say. She wouldn't say, I don't see what you see in him. She'd say, I see exactly what you see in him. That's a problem statement, okay? When your mom looks at you and says, I see exactly what you see in him. Glad I didn't give up on myself, you know. Life is tough at times. And, you know, I look back at some of the toughest stuff that has happened to me in my life. And I'm like, you know, in reality, compared to like 80% of the people that you know, you really haven't had that tough. You really haven't. Yeah, you've had some tough stuff happen, but like, my mom had a great life. Okay, like, let's just use my mom's passing as an example. My mom had a great life. She was in an induced coma before she passed away. She was surrounded by her friends and her family. Okay, in a hospital room. Not in any pain that I'm aware of. We could go so many worse ways. I've known tons of people that have gone worse ways. And for their families as well, you know? I was able to say goodbye. I was able to have closure with her, you know? I was an adult when she passed away. I was 36. Would I have loved for her to live till I was 70? Sure. But I still got to have an adult relationship with her. You know, we had 13 years almost of sobriety together. I remember at the time that I met Alex that year, one of Alex's closest friends, who we're still good friends with now, he doesn't live here anymore, but he had just turned, he was 2 years younger than Alex. Alex was 24, so he had just turned 22 when I was 36. And his mother had just died a month before, like, I met him, like, literally the week I met Alex, like, I met him out. We all met up at the place that I was talking about when I met Carlos that night, Alex's brother, Champs. Our friend was there too. His mom had died the month previous of breast cancer. And I said, I remember saying, how old was your mom? And he said 36. Would that have been right? No, because that would have made, maybe he said 46. I know she wasn't 14 when she had him, so, but I'm like 46. Because I remember thinking how young she was, and that I had had so much extra time with my mom, and he was only 22, and he didn't get to have that with his mom, and it really put it in perspective for me, you know. And since then, all the people that I've met whose parents passed when they were 10 or 5, you know, or like my mom 4, they don't really have any recollection of their parents, or they never knew their parents, you know. So I think it's all perspective, and I think there's always people out there that have it worse than us, and I think there are people out there that have it better than us. And like I always say, you have to remember that you're on your journey, because for you, your journey is specific to you. And I don't want to forget that. Like, I want to remember, you know, that the journey that I'm on is specific to me. Because if I start comparing myself to other people, the other thing is I might miss something that's valuable to me, you know, like by comparing myself to other people. You know, my aunt, my uncle passing away, they were sick, they were older, you know. Breakups that I've had, none of them were so horrible. Sad, yes, but not like tragic. God, so many people that I know have had 100 times worse, horrific things happen in relationships and breakups, you know? So really, I mean, even the bad things that have happened in my life haven't been that horrible, you know? And like, you know, when you think about like, oh, well, like my life was really, really hard having an alcoholic mother. Okay, but there was a lot of good to that. And having an alcoholic mother allowed me to have a mother in recovery that I got to have this relationship with in a way that I would never have had a relationship with her had she. And I'm not saying that I would trade that off, because honestly, to go back and in all reality, to have grown up with a mother that was not an alcoholic, I would probably choose that today. There was a lot of fear that came along with it. You know, there was a lot of like me being the caretaker at a young age. It was just a warped sense of reality. But if you look at it like, well, what was to gain from it? Well, to gain from it was that I got to have a relationship with my mom later that I got to learn forgiveness of a parent, you know, because I was able to forgive her for all of that. And, you know, even like the drugs and alcohol and stuff that I used, it's like, sure, that was all horrible, and I put myself in some very dangerous, scary situations, and I almost died, and, you know, on and on and on. But like, and, you know, A, because I'm an alcoholic and an addict, B, because I am genetically predisposed, and 3, because much of it was my choice. So, you know, I have to look at that. But like, had I not gotten sober, like, I can't even imagine, like, I don't even know, honestly, I don't even know what my life would look like. I have no clue. Because when I talk about this, like thread of that goes through life, of like all of the things I've learned, all the things that have happened, like when I look at them, like, even from like meeting my very first boyfriend, okay, sober, that led me to, you know, him breaking up, and then me hanging out with a friend of mine, sober friend of mine, and going out to where I met my second boyfriend. I mean, it's just like each thing, like, you can't go, at what point do you go back in life and you unravel one piece, right? Because if you unravel one piece and the rest of it falls apart, it's like, well, I wouldn't be here if A, B, C, D, E, F, G hadn't happened. You know what I mean? It's like very interesting. It's like when you see those movies, like what was that movie back in the day called, I hated it, it was so badly done, poorly done, but it was Gwyneth Paltrow, called Sliding Doors or whatever, where it's like, you know, if you turned left instead of turned right here, you know, like, what would your life look like? And are there like 100 times mere infinity of options of what your life could look like, you know, if you turned left instead of turning right, kind of thing? And I do, on some weird level, believe that. But it's like, I can't think that way, you know what I mean? And so I think that we have to do with what we're given and the circumstances that we're given. And I think, you know, acceptance is a huge part of that for me today, you know. Acceptance in looking at my life and feeling very, very grateful for what I have in my life today and where I'm at and what that looks like. And you know what I mean? Like, that everything that happened in my life maybe for a reason. Not every specific thing, but like the big stuff, you know, maybe most of it happened for a reason. And, you know, and I can be real grateful for that today. And I can look at it and be like, wow, I have a pretty incredible life. You know, yeah, I've had a lot of pain in my life. But and when you start comparing your pain and your tragedy to other people, and I mean like other people, not just like Betty Sue down the street, but I'm talking about like, you know, people that have no food and water, people that have been orphaned at 4 years old, you know, people that are fighting for their last breath tonight. You know, that's what I'm talking about. When you look at that and you compare your existence to them, well, gratitude's a pretty huge thing that comes up. You know, it's real hard to look at that and not be grateful for what you have. And that's where I go with it, you know, whenever I start, like, you know, I don't know. It's kind of like this. It's like, I wish I had those tools, honestly, that I used them immediately, right? Like if something happened in my life, like I immediately went right to the gratitude. I'm not like that. Like even still today, it's like, you know, it's like, you know, it'd be like if you like fell down and then you like immediately got back up and you go, okay, I'm ready to go. Like, you know what I mean? But like, that's not who I am. It's like I fall down and then I like go, oh, damn, that hurt. And like, you know, then like somebody's standing there and I'm like looking at them going like, you should feel sorry for me. Like this hurts so bad, right? So I go through the complaining, I go through the pitying, I go through the, you know, being a victim, you know, and then I finally get up and I go, God. And then like I look across the way and I see somebody fell and broke their leg and I think, oh, it's gonna stop, hold on. Okay, but then like I look across the way and I see somebody fell and broke their leg and they don't have anybody to talk to or help them, right? And I think, well, my leg's not broken. And I start getting up and I think it could be worse. I could have broken my leg and I do have somebody to talk to and they don't, you know, and my life's not that bad. You know what I mean? Like the tools slowly come into play, but at least I have a toolbox today. God, I mean, there was a day that I didn't have any tools in my toolbox, you know? And I think like, that's it for me, is like coming out of that. Like, you know, it's not about a comparison study for me compared to other people that, you know, like how they act or how they behave in the world or whatever. I think it's very much like, what do I do with that? And, you know, like, how quick do I get to those tools today? Like, how quick am I willing to, you know, recognize and realize? Because I'm not perfect with it. I'm not great. And I'm not using that as an excuse, but it's just like, the trick to me today is realizing quicker that I have those tools and utilizing them, you know? Realizing, okay, Peter, you have these tools in your toolbox. I think we live in a society where we demand a lot of perfection today from people. You know, and I think, you know, I don't know, in my spiritual journey, one of the first things I ever learned was that nobody's perfect. So I forgive myself for that stuff today. I, you know, forgive those around me that like, hey, listen, we're all just human trying to, you know, you're going to fall down, okay? You're going to scrape your knee, but it's not going to be broken. And you're going to get back up and you're going to learn from the experience and realize maybe to look where you're walking next time, you know, kind of thing. And I don't know. But gratitude is a huge part of that for me today. You know, when I look at other people and I realize I have it pretty good. Like, I need to be very, you know, I need to focus on the good and not so much on the trouble or the negative. You know what I mean? I think it's easy in life. Like, have you ever known anybody that just, like, you'll know what I'm talking about when I say this, okay? Not that they are just positive and happy, but they are effortlessly positive and happy and grateful. Do you know what I mean by that? Like, people that are literally, like, they notice, like, literally the smallest thing, right? Like, they're so grateful for, like, the smallest thing. Like, you'll go out to dinner with them somewhere, and they'll be like, I don't know, you're like, somewhere at a table or whatever, and you're like da 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 da, and you're like talking, and you like notice them, and they're like looking at like the salt and pepper shaker, and you're like, what's with the salt and pepper shaker or something? They're like, isn't this like the most delightful salt and pepper shaker you've ever seen? I mean, they're just like effortlessly just graceful, have gratitude, happiness, positivity, and it's like, even like when things affect them, like, they handle it, like, and that's what inspires me. Like, that's who I want to be. You know, that, like, you know, even when something happens to them, they're just like, stuff happens, you know, and there's a beauty in that too. And I think it's about really just like stepping right into life, into the journey, and being like, I'm here for the journey, I'm here for life, and all that it's got, you know, I'm ready to embark upon this journey and just enjoy every moment of it. And I think, like, I don't know, those people are people that inspire me just unbelievably, you know? You know, they'll be standing in front of a painting or something that you've, like, walked by 100 times and never noticed, and they'll just, have you ever seen this painting before? This is, like, just the most marvelous painting, you know? And it's like, they're just so calm and soft-spoken about, like, I don't know, like, there's something about that that's just so beautiful to me, and that's, like, really who I aim to be in my life. Stupid camera. Today, I'm the camera, see? I'm the camera that keeps on falling over, okay? That aims to just stay up, but I can't. But one of these days, I will be the camera that can just stay up. It goes too much forward, too much back. It tries so hard. The camera tries so hard. I am the camera. Anyway. Oh, I should ask a question at the end of every vlog, right? Because I'm almost at the end of the vlog. I'm almost home, so I'm just going to go home, and I'm going to throw the vlog up, and then I'm going to listen to my audiobook a little bit until Alex gets home. I am a camera that is constantly falling over, trying to get back up, and trying to stay up. If you are an object, what object are you? Very Barbara Walters kind of question from back in the day, isn't it? Anyway, I hope tomorrow I don't have a scratchy voice, and I hope tomorrow I feel a little bit better. But I do feel much better than I felt yesterday. So, thank you guys for driving around with me tonight. It was fun. And, oh, I haven't gone to the post office yet. I still need to do that, damn it. All right, I hope you guys are having a fantastic Sunday. Do you guys like them being put up earlier, or would you rather them be up later? It's really no big thing to me. I can put them up whenever. So let me know when you like them up earlier or later. I love you guys, and I hope you're not sick wherever you are. Spirit fingers. And I hope you're enjoying your weekend. I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.